We know they're just falling back to regroup. They'll be back. This isn't over.
Right now on News 3 Live at 5, Bundy versus the BLM. Supporters say the cattle may be free, but the battle isn't over yet. Shots fired in Kansas. Police say a man targeting Jewish people opened fire. How many were shot in the confrontation and who police have in custody? News 3 Live at 5 starts right now.
Live at 5 with Crystal Allen. This is News 3.
Thanks for having us in on this Sunday evening. It has certainly been a contentious week. Ranchers supporting Cliven Bundy gathered in Bunkerville, determined to keep his cattle grazing on Bureau of Land Management land. Now, yesterday, hundreds of protesters, some armed, gather outside the corrals in Mesquite. That's when the Bureau released about 400 head of cattle in its seeds from Bundy, saying safety was a major concern. Now, the tension between the BLM and protesters spilled over earlier this week when cell phone video of a BLM officer pushing and tasering a protester went viral. Tonight, we're told Bundy is speaking out again, and we have a reporter on the way to Bunkerville to give us the very latest. But his supporters are already speaking out, saying this fight is far from over. The camps they've set up in Bunkerville not coming down anytime soon. The battle over cattle is our top story tonight at 5. And not everyone is supporting Cliven Bundy. The Center for Biological Diversity sued the state years ago over habitat for the desert tortoise. Land, he says, has routinely been eaten up and destroyed by Mr. Bundy's cattle. Now, senior scientist Rob Maroka says he's disappointed with the BLM's sudden change of heart. But the Bundy family says this is a victory over the government, and they're holding firm to their position over grazing rights. Our team coverage continues tonight with News 3's Antonio Castellan. He's live tonight at the county fair in Logandale to give us an idea of how people are reacting to BLM leaving the area. Antonio, what are you hearing out there? Thank you, Antonio, for that report. And remember, when we aren't on air, we're always online. We've been following this Bundy story from the very start. For all of our coverage, just head to our website. That, of course, is mynews3.com, and type Cliven Bundy into the Find It box. A look now at other news happening across the valley. A warehouse fire kept more than 40 firefighters very busy this morning just west of Nellis Air Force Base. The 2-alarm fire burned quickly through the Fraser Masonry near Lamb and Alexander just after 5 this morning. Firefighters say they were able to save some computers and files inside. The warehouse is a total loss. Damage is estimated at $500,000. Still no word on what may have started the flames. Police have a suspect in custody following shootings that left 3 people dead in Kansas today. But so far, his name has not been released. Police say the man in his 70s was armed with a shotgun and screaming "Hail Hitler" when he was taken into custody. 2 people were killed at the Jewish Community Center in Overland Park, Kansas. Another victim was shot and killed at Village Shalom, a retirement community in nearby Leawood. Witnesses say that scene was just chaotic. Police have yet to confirm if the shootings at both locations are related. Investigators are still combing through the wreckage of a charter bus crash in Northern California. So far, they say the cause of that crash still a mystery. 10 people died when the FedEx truck slammed into a bus filled with high school students and their chaperones. Right now, investigators are working to determine if that FedEx truck was already on fire when it crashed into the bus. One young survivor says the ordeal will never leave him.
They died on impact, and I saw that happen.
The bus was carrying Southern California high school students to a campus tour of Humboldt State University. 5 students, 3 adult chaperones, and both drivers died in Thursday's collision in Orland, a small city about 100 miles north of Sacramento. Well, it's been almost a year since bombs went off at the finish line of the Boston Marathon. Why one woman is determined to run the race for her family and what the race means for so many impacted the day of the tragedy. Plus, vending marijuana? Colorado has been out in front of the business for months. Now there's an even easier way to fill prescriptions. Here these new machines, or where rather these new machines are popping up. Plus, searching for her father, a woman says her father's plane crashed in Vietnam while she's still fighting to bring his body home. The Boston Marathon kicks off in 2 weeks, and for many involved in the preparations and the run itself, it's an emotional event. 36,000 runners are preparing to run across the freshly painted finish line. It's something some didn't get the chance to do last year when bombs went off, turning triumph into tragedy. Sally Duvall's husband, a runner, had just reached mile 25. He was unharmed, but she quickly became determined. For some, the run is about facing their fears and remembering what happened by pushing their bodies to the limit. This year's marathon kicks off on April 21st. As Nevada continues to navigate the new market, the marijuana industry is booming in Colorado. Now there's a way for people to get their pot without dealing directly with the person, a vending machine. It dispenses pot and pot-related products, and it was unveiled this weekend. The company responsible claims it is safe and will not open up access to kids. The machine verifies a user's age, starting with their driver's license. They won't be set up on any old street corner, by the way. These machines can only be located inside a licensed dispensary. Las Vegas city leaders are asking for your comments when it comes to licensing and zoning medical marijuana dispensaries. And there are a few ways you can make your comments heard in person on April 22nd at 6 p.m. at Las Vegas City Hall Council Chambers, or for the first time if you haven't done so before. City leaders will hold a crowd hall so you can submit your questions online beginning April 17th. Some of the questions will be answered by city staff. And News 3 covering all you need to know when it comes to medical marijuana developments here and across the nation. To see all of our coverage, you can head to our website, mynews3.com, and click on the medical marijuana link on our homepage. As the Silver State Health Insurance is in the middle of a special enrollment period, those who are able to sign up now because of earlier glitches are starting to pay. And to avoid the federal penalty, you only have a few days left. Those who are finishing up their enrollment must have insurance activated by May 1st. The cutoff date for enrollment, April 15th, Tuesday, while people in the special enrollment period have until May 30th to finish the process. Waiting beyond next week would miss the May 1st mark and should expect some partial federal penalties in next year's tax filing. Still to come on News 3 at 5, searching for her father. A woman who lost her dad in Vietnam says she won't rest until his body is buried in the United States. Why it's taking so long to bring him back home. And now we turn to Jerry.
Yeah, blue skies over Vegas.
Thanks for staying with us. The woman says it's been more than 4 decades since she's seen her father, who went missing when his plane was shot down in Vietnam. 2 years ago, she discovered he had survived that crash, but later died and was buried in Vietnam. Since then, she's been fighting to bring home his remains. But this weekend, O'Grady was given the chance to ask some questions at her father and what could be done to bring him home. Hear more about O'Grady's story coming up a little bit later on later editions of News 3. And now we bring Jerry Brown into the conversation because we're going to talk a little weather, shall we?
Yeah, it's pretty nice out there.
Yeah.
If you didn't mind the wind, they were definitely in evidence
A little
today.
breezy. We got up to the 90s this week, too. We got a little taste of
We
summer.
tied, and then we set a record high.
Coming up tonight on News 3 Nightly at 6 p.m. The cattle have been freed, but the battle far from over. Why supporters of rancher Clive Bundy say they're not going anywhere. And a military family looking for their father, who went missing 45 years ago, searches for answers. Now for a look at what's coming up tonight on NBC Primetime. Beginning at 8, it's American Dream Builders, followed by Believe at 9, Crisis at 10, and they can keep it right here for News 3 live at 11. Finally tonight, Wet n Wild is open for its second season, but the water park is only temporarily open this week for spring break. The park is open through the 20th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Then it will close until its summer hours beginning on May 3rd. For more information on past pricing, you can visit mynews3.com. And we thank you so much for joining us for News 3 Live at 5. Of course, when we're not on air, we're always online, and you can find us at mynews3.com. And we hope you keep it right here for News 3 at 6. But next is NBC Nightly News. Thanks for being with us.
Good night.